So today we're going to be covering Chronicon. This is a series of books by Jason Breshears, starting from 5000-ish BC and going all the way. I think this one goes all the way to 450. It might even go further. It might go into into the 1900s up till the 2000s. Either way, though, I'm gonna try to show this to y'all. I'm gonna try to present it to y'all. Maybe my perspective will help bridge the gap for some of y'all. Book 1, Before the Flood. First part is 20,986 BC. According to the modern scientific model, this is when light traveling from the galactic core at 186,000 miles per second began moving towards us, to be viewed through telescopes in the year 2016 CE. The intricacy of such tiny organisms having been petrified is astonishing, and proves that the marine environment had been flash frozen. So every time you see a number right here, is going to point to a citation from a book, a researcher. Just so we're not, just be completely clear, this is not like a fantasy. This is like researchers that actually making their case here. 5239 BCE. I'm gonna skip this right here. I want y'all to pay attention to this though, because if you the more you pay attention to it, the more you'll see certain things reoccurring as far as numbers, and just it's all just basically pattern recognition at a certain point. So just pay attention to it, but I'm not going to read it out loud. Yeah, just imagine a binary star system with a brighter and a smaller luminary. Two stars, smaller orbiting the larger, and the smaller was known as the day star, having a series of planets orbiting it. So these were a gigantic planet known to the Sumerians as the Nemesis X object, a planet called Phoenix by ancient civilizations, and our own called the Earth. There have been many more, but during this period, the other luminary, a bright star at night because of the extreme distance between the sister stars. So the other sun would just would not have been as bright or as hot, because they're not that close to each other. Provided a soft blue illumination at night, and also had orbiting it the planets we're familiar with today. The planets have never ceased orbiting it, and that's talking about Mercury, Venus, Mars, Electra, which is now the asteroid belt, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. And our planet was not part of this luminary system until later, the result of a solar system cataclysm. So just picture those two suns. They served as the greater light to serve the day, and the lesser light to serve the night, as found in Genesis. So that'd be interesting. You can go in there and look at it. As found in Genesis through this ancient fragment incorporated into the later writings, has been mistaken with that of the moon. Our planet is really old. This planet and two other big ones used to go around a big sun. And the other planets we know today, Mercury, Venus, etc., they were around a smaller sun that looked blue from the Earth in those times. And this is all, this isn't Lord of the Rings or whatever. This is just based on the earliest tablets so we can find. Paper doesn't last very long. The Sumerian tablets, the inscriptions and stuff like that. That's what this is all. The only reference you could get for those times, realistically. The fourth planet, Sol, was an enormous world remembered later as Tiamat, having 11 moons. Its orbit, where the present asteroid belt lies at this time, the Sol orbiting planets were Mercury, Venus, Mars, and Tiamat in the inner system instead of an asteroid belt. So the whole reason that we're technically it's so difficult to go to Mars is or even the moon, is because of these asteroid belts that we have. And so here it's given an explanation for that as what the ancients regarded as Tiamat. So cool to know. The more we ponder the many incongruities of the stellosphere, the more evidence manifests that we are looking up into a manifold Dyson shell-like holosphere, either encapsulating our world with false heavens or actually shelled around an entire solar system. Prior to the collapse of Nemesis, Earth orbited Nemesis and was home only to reptilians, amphibian, insectoid, and marine creatures. Even in the prehistoric biosphere of this world, under the Nemesis sun, the avians were not birds as we know them, but reptiles. Orbiting Nemesis far away from its sister sun, Sol, Earth had no mammalian life forms. So yeah, just a little bit of information, just because I'm familiar with this guy's work. Is yeah, this is basically the chronology. This is what we will be covering, and this is the events in this time, all the way up to 2106 CE, which is when the writer claims that yeah, basically it won't matter what happens after that. The analytical focus of Chronicon has been comprehended to the mathematical structures known in antiquity and the formulas employed in the introduction of the maintenance of early calendars, timekeeping systems, methods of counting, or ways in which the passage of time was reckoned, and to synchronize this information into a single linear chronology leading up to the present day. Cavern dwelling of Petra was inhabited as far back as 5000 BCE. That's pretty cool. Here we got some references. Always good to look at the references. You know, these are not like these are not just whatever books he's referencing. You know, these are very very deeply researched individuals that spent their lives translating and inscripting these things. Geologist Eugene Shoemaker had pointed out that if the asteroid hit the ocean, the injection of water vapor into the atmosphere could increase the greenhouse effect and warm the climate. Geologist Shoemaker, he really misses calling, you know. So again, just to like put this into, you know, regular English for y'all. Again, we got the two suns, we got the bigger luminary, we got the smaller luminary. And then the bigger one has Earth, Phoenix, and what you would call the Nemesis X object. And the Nemesis X object is the only one that goes in between these two stars. And basically, our solar system, the smaller star with Mercury, Venus, and all that is like above, and this one is below. So whenever Nemesis comes up, it comes up from the south. So Anunnaki are given basically all the knowledge that exists, and then they start predicting the future, and then they realize that their God, what they consider God, what created them, they're beings made out of fire. They're like made out of energy or whatever. And they learn that another creature is going to be made out of clay, and this clay is actually going to hold the eternal spirit of God instead of just being a being. You know, this one would actually hold the Holy Spirit. So they get mad and they quit their services to their own pre-Adamic creation. So they were, you know, they were basically creating stuff, you know, animals or whatever. And I think at this point they said it was like reptiles or whatever. So yeah, they quit their services to them. The insurgents now blasphemously required themselves to be worshipped and began teaching their creations forbidden knowledge and the sciences of hybridization, arcane secrets that were to remain only within the order of the Watchers. Whatever it is, the big star went boom. The big star went boom. And the planets nearest were obliterated and filled the Kuiper belt with detritus. So basically, this is the explanation for comets. So it was stars close to it, which we would have no idea what they were. And then the outer world was hurled towards the other star that was still there with Mercury, Venus, and whatnot. And so Nemesis X which was already going over there with the explosion or whatever, came into a 792-year orbit where it spends 60 years above the ecliptic plane, so 60 years around everything. The 3 planets that we can still come into contact with around that sun, move in to this new sun, our current star, our solar, what we'll consider our solar system. Earth freezes because it takes 270 years to get there. Phoenix, one of the other planets, was completely destroyed and entered an orbit over the sun. So every 138 years, it would come back. And then the Nemesis X object entered a 792-year orbit where it comes back every 792 years and stays for 60 years. Just to clarify everything we just read, because I know how confusing it gets. The Gnostic text, I can explain that more, honestly. I'm not going to, but if you want the explanation from the YouTube video or whatever, just message me. Or watch Archaix. Just go watch Archaix. So lithospheric means the rigid outermost rocky shell of Earth. So given that moved, and given that the vapor canopy collapsed, aka the world, not the world, but there was a great flood in some areas. All this changed the ice core data, so it's unreliable. So yeah, we finally got to Earth history. We had to go through quite a bit of a Sumerian history. We're finally to Earth history. We're finally around 4039 BC, I think. Hope you learned something today. Hope you're excited for next week when we're gonna get more into the beginnings of mankind and get out of this Anunnaki Sumerian stuff. But hey, you got to start there. That's all we got. We got some records here. We got some really good researchers that have spent their whole lives putting this information out there, and it's you can't let it go to waste. You have to look at it. I hope you look at it. I hope you learn something today, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Thank you for watching, and have a good night, party people. Woo!